The internet will never see the shit my husband does for me, the flowers he buys for me, the anniversary gifts he gets me. None of it. Why? Because I'm not in a dysfunctional relationship or marriage. And I don't have to prove. The people posting the most shit about their relationships and marriages online are basically on the brink of divorce or breaking up. Yeah, y'all can miss me with that.
Listen, what do you guys think about what she had to say? Because listen, there is a lot of truth to what she's saying. Um, and I do think a lot of people post their relationships and their families on social media, one, for attention, and then a lot of times too, they're trying to portray a certain lifestyle. They're trying to portray something, that's fancy, or something to prove a point, to prove that they're doing well, or to prove that, they're, above others, or, just want to make it seem like they have the perfect life, or they have the perfect family, just to try to portray something that's better than average, I think. And, I think oftentimes when we see that happen, usually there's some type of drama or some type of something that follows, or either a divorce or splitting up. We always see this when couples display their marriages a lot of times on social media, or displays too much of their personal lives on social media. There's usually a breakup or some type of big toxic drama filled argument, or something that explodes on social media as well, or other things get exposed, and then eventually there's a breakup. So I think there is something to keeping your life private. I think that's something you should do, especially when it comes to your kids and your husbands or your wives. I think if you don't work online, if you don't have business online, then I think it's best to especially if it's not with your family, to not put so much of your life on social media, because it can backfire. A lot of times people like to see that. And a lot of people love to see families and love to see the family structure and see what you're doing, especially if you're doing all types of different things. People like to see that. But then what comes with that is people scrutinizing and tearing apart what they see. And they don't usually get to see a whole lot. There's always little snippets of a person's family and their livelihood. But people will take those snippets and start to insert their opinions and start to give suggestions and advice where they shouldn't. And so it can cause conflict between the couples, and, listen to what people are saying back and forth. It's just a whole thing. This whole social media can definitely turn on you, especially when it comes to your husbands and your wives, because people are always going to have an opinion. And when you put your business out there, that's to be expected. They're going to have opinions. And sometimes it's not going to always be in your favor. As soon as they see something that they don't like, they're going to chime in on it. And then they're going to start to try to tell you what you need to be doing and why you shouldn't do this. I've seen a multitude of videos of different people posting their children, posting their spouses. And then there's always somebody in those comments who have negative opinions about their spouses, about the kids. Or if you show, certain things in your household, they have opinions about that. Well, why y'all have this like this? Why are you doing it like this? Oh my God, he was talking to her funny, girl. Why are you accepting him talking to you like that? You gotta come on there and pretend like you are perfect patties. You can't display no type of negative emotion. You can't, look at each other funny. You can't come on there with an attitude, because baby, they're going to blow that out of proportion. And they're going to start analyzing it and deep diving and start making it up and start saying this and saying that. And then they have you two at odds because of what the people are saying. And when those people start weighing in, it weighs heavily on relationships and couples, because they take what the people say personally, and they start to argue about it. And then they start to, it creates a whole problem. So this is why you have to be careful, especially if you're doing stuff online with your husbands, with your wives, with your kids, because people are always going to have something to say. They're going to start, if they don't like the way your husband look, oh my God, they're going to start saying shit about him. If they don't like the way you look or way you talk, they're going to say stuff about that. So yeah, this is why a lot of people don't like to put their families on social media or on the internet. They don't like to put their spouses, because they know how crucial people can be. And it's almost as if people want to egg you on to put it out there so they can turn around and analyze and deep dive and start speculating on your person and all that kind of stuff. Now, everybody, it's not meant for everybody to be on the internet. Everybody don't want to expose their lives and be scrutinized in that way. Everybody don't want to do that. And you have every right to. So if you're purposely leaving your family and your spouses off of social media, I think that's a great thing. People don't, if you're selling a product, if you are the brand and people are buying into you, that's all they need. You don't need to expose your family life and all that, because sometimes it could ruin your situation or what you got going on. I've seen a lot of couples break up on social media. A lot of people are divorced, child. They did all kinds of stuff as a result of social media. And I don't think going into it, they thought that would happen, but a lot of them end up separated, divorced, a lot because behind social media. There are whole family channels where people have speculated on the children and called CPS on the people's kids because they thought the kids would be neglected because they saw a hanging wet diaper or stuff like that. Like, I'm like, baby, it gets crazy on these internet streets. People really be thinking they know what's going on in your household, and when you expose that, oh my God, you open your life up to a can of worms. Because like I said, the family vlog channels, oh, they've gone through it. Yeah, people have definitely ruined a lot of those people's relationships. And I'm not gonna put it all on the public, but they definitely had a part to play in it by adding their opinions and their 2 cents and giving people ideas. And then next thing you know, they arguing and breaking up, and they're coming online and telling their stories and all kinds of stuff like that. I'm like, it's crazy. So yeah, shout out to her, listen, for protecting her family. I don't see anything wrong with that. But people will have pushback behind that. People will actually have a problem with you not wanting to expose your family. And like I said, they'll put the pressure on you to put it out there so they can turn around and tear it apart with their opinions and what they think. And, it's just insane. So yeah, I think social media is interesting. And I think you can, there's a way to do it, especially if it's a part of your business or stuff like that. But if you can keep your private life private and if it has nothing to do with your work on social media, definitely do so. You don't have to, bring that in, because it could be very cruel on these social media streets. And if you're not prepared for it, it would definitely tear down your relationship. I'm just saying, a lot of couples, once again, have broken up over social media. And if you're not working on social media, if that's not a part of your brand or your business, stay off it as much as possible. Because especially if you're in a relationship, don't go to the internet with your personal problems. Don't go on social media talking about your spouse and what they do and what they don't do, and crying, talking about, trying to get some type of sympathy from the public and get brownie points from people you don't know, because they will have you ruin your relationship. There are a lot of people who go on here talking about what their men don't do, and then you have people in the comments saying, girl, you should leave him. Any little issue that you bring up, they tell you to leave. And if that's not what you want to do, don't be influenced by these people on here, because baby, they will have you single and miserable like them. Because remember, they don't know your full life. They only getting the bits and pieces that you're putting out there. They don't know everything. So when you do that, when you open yourself up to that, but you better be prepared for what you're doing, because baby, they will definitely tell you if they don't like something with the quickness, girl, you should leave. And then if you listen to that, you'll be messing your whole life up over strangers. I'm just saying, it ain't for the weak, and it ain't, you shouldn't be influenced by people you don't know. That's my thing. So shout out to people who understand it and keep their families private as much as possible, because baby, these people are crazy. So listen, y'all, let me know what y'all think in the comments below. Comment, like, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell to be notified when I upload new content or go live. Y'all chime in. Let me know your thoughts on social media and family and relationships. Do you think it's okay to post your family consistently and in-depth things that's going on in your relationship? And do you think that that's a disaster for relationships? I want to know. Let me know in the comments below, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.